It's amazing that you have been witness to the entire history of this sport. And, like from your magazine to radio host and then I guess blogger and vlogger. Now you would be called an influencer and a content creator.
I guess,
How,
yeah.
how do you how do you reconcile those titles? Are you
The cool part is I get to talk to great people. And it's funny, it's one of the like we just came back from New Zealand. We did 203 interviews this year.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was checking out your channel. It was amazing.
200, and I was just looking at it, and I was like adding up the numbers. Actually, what's cool about this era, back then, I mean, I could put out 500,000 magazines, but I couldn't tell you how many people watched what or read what. I couldn't tell you any of that stuff.
Hmm.
Well, now I can tell you that we had 5,677,000 minutes of viewing this year. And that the average view was 9 minutes and 18 seconds, and impressions 9,208,000 impressions, and 30% of my viewers are in US. It's
Yeah.
all that cool type of stuff it's quantifiable now. Where back in the day it wasn't.
Yeah.
We were just like I can't tell Nike how many people looked at their ad on the back cover of the magazine, and how many shoes did they sell from that. You can't. But now it's really a great era because if you suck or not. If people like what you're doing. If
Yeah.
people like what they're doing, they're watching and they're telling their friends. So, and I get an opportunity. You think about getting a chance to interview early in the year, at Oceanside, Yelly Deans. This guy just won 70.3 worlds. Nobody knew who the hell he was.
Right.
When we went to Kona this year, we had I think we had 15, no, 16 of the first 17 were interviewed. I think we did 50 some interviews that week. And the cool part was, it's all about research. So you
Mm.
do some research, and it used to be if you swam 50 minutes, if you rode 415 to 420 and ran 250, you were a factor. Now you need to be swimming 47, you need to be riding 403, and you need to be running 237, 238 to be in the ballpark. So there was a lot of guys who, like, Menno Coolhouse. Before that race, nobody knew who the hell he was. But it was like, when you do your research, I know that people have no idea who this guy is, but he's going to be a factor. And so we get to introduce a lot of folks to people who they'll be watching forever. I remember when Magnus Stietle, we interviewed him at, a Challenge Daytona back in 2020, whenever that was. People didn't know who Magnus was. They had no idea back in the day when Daniela Reef joins us in 2014. And I remember sitting with her at our set at Huggos on the Rocks, and she got in like on Wednesday of race week. I mean, people come in 3 weeks early now. She shows up on Wednesday, and we're sitting, and she's looking at a lead drive and goes, "Is this where we run?" Yeah, this is where you'll be running in 2 days. In 3 days you'll be running there, and you're going to become one of the greatest of all time with 5 Ironman World Championship titles and 5 70.3 World Championship titles. But right now, nobody knows who the hell you are. It's cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost a light there.
Oh, no problem.
Um, so as you're interviewing all these people and figuring out who to talk to and you're getting all these great interviews, I noticed one of the things that you did this year is you had two women on from the 2000 Olympics and the 2024 Olympics. Does that just happen organically, or do you go in thinking, oh, this would be a great way to tell a story and I want to have these women on? How does that come about?
It's Well, McKee. So I met McKeely Jones when met in Tahiti at a triathlon down there. I forget what the name of it was, but we both raced this triathlon down there, and she out sprinted one of the Mouton twins to win the race. And then she and her husband at the time, her boyfriend at the time, moved to San Diego. They had a $500 Ford Maverick. The whole roof was coming off, but she was going to be special. I knew she was going to be special. So I called up a couple of, potential sponsors for her, and neither of them had any interest. And then I called up my buddy Greg Rorick, who was launching or had launched the Danskin Women's Triathlon Series, which was turned out to be really phenomenal. And I said, Greg, I think this woman looks Danskin. She's just very classy. And he goes, okay, here's what I'll do. Anything she wins at my race, prize money wise, I'll match it. So if she wins two, she gets four. So McKeely ends up like third or fourth in the first Danskin race and fifth in the second one, and then wins 20 some in a row. Ends up becoming the highest paid woman in the sport, winning a BMW, sponsored by Metric, sponsored by Reebok, and then goes on to win an Olympic silver medal. We were staying at her house in 2000, and then she was there when we started our Challenge Athletes Foundation in 1994, and was at our events early on. And then she was so connected with Challenge Athletes when Australia said, hey, we need someone to guide Katie Kelly at the first ever Paralympic para triathlon in 2016. It was McKeely, and wins a gold in the Paralympic para triathlon. So, McKeely knew about Challenge Athletes from being involved with us.
Right.
And then Julie Derome from Switzerland, she's an amazing woman as well. And she took a silver at this year's Olympics. And it was really cool because, a lot of times people will tell you their real thoughts. And she was going, when there was four of them left towards the, in the middle portion of that 10K run in Paris, yeah. She was thinking, this is cool. I'll get fourth. Right? There's four of us. I'll get fourth. And then she's like, well, why? I'm leading. I'm pushing the pace. And she ended up getting the silver. I think every age grouper can relate to, I feel like quitting. It's too hot. My foot hurts. The pros have the same thing. One year we're interviewing Jan Frodeno after it looked like he had an easy win in Kona. And he said, yeah, easy win. I was ready to drop out 14 times. So, and the age grouper can relate to that because they go through that same thing with the guy on one shoulder saying, quit. This is too hard. And the other guy saying, why? You're okay. You can handle this. And actually, Mark Allen in the 95 Ironman, he's 37 years old. He's got this, 26-year-old kid, Thomas Hellriegel, who's got a 13-minute lead off the bike. And Mark's running through town thinking to himself, my hotel's right there. Right there. I've won this thing 5 times. Nobody would give me crap for dropping out. This is awful. Well, then Greg Welch, who had won the 94 race, Greg Welch stops the stretch. And for whatever reason, Mark got power from that. And next thing you know, he's making up that 13 minutes and winning. And what I love, it's the last triathlon he ever did. The last day he ever raced, he made up a 13-minute lead. And it's not like Thomas Hellriegel died. What did he run, a 2:58 marathon or something? And Mark had to run, not just ran. He had to run a 2:42 to win the race. And that's, you think about Hellriegel, the following year, he came off the bike with Luc van Lierde, and Luc had a penalty and had to sit down for 3 minutes. So Thomas ran a 2:46 marathon that year after coming off the bike with Luc and then having a 3-minute gap. And Luc ran 2:41 and broke the course record to win. So his first 2 years, Thomas Hellriegel should have won the Ironman. In 97, he finally did. But, that guy should have 3 Ironman World Championships.
And it's just amazing the way you're able to bring all these stories forward, and they're in your head. It's like that Steve King kind of brain of the names and the numbers and things like that. And I think that's why people enjoy watching, all of your interviews. And like Steve, he mentioned that he kind of came across doing announcing and things like that by accident. He was running races and finishing near the beginning. And so one day he grabbed a bullhorn and started calling other people in. Yeah. Your way of doing it seemed to be a lot more organic, or it seemed to be organic as well, in that, you came out of, I'm going to promote this sport and just start meeting these people.
Yeah. We leave meeting the people. has been the best part because I do think there is such a our sport is very rare. You can't go and play the Masters with Tiger Woods. You can't go and play Wimbledon with Federer. But I can be in the Bay treading water with Jan Frodeno
Right.
as a 70 to death age grouper on the same day at running the same course and be able to talk story with him afterwards. How was a win for you and Javi? What was it like at Kauai High? How was the energy lab? We have a common bond
Right.
that our athletes, our pros and our age groupers are, it's basically you have a fraternity and sorority of suffering. We have that bond because we suffer in training, we suffer on race day, and nobody really understands it who's outside of our world, how much you enjoy that suffering and how much you gain from that suffering. So it's, that's what makes our sport so unique and so special.
Yeah.